discomfort as in joint pain, muscular discomfort, entirely up to you. If you need to stop and stretch, stop and stretch. If you can keep it going for as long as you want, as long as you can. Usual props, I'm going to make sure that I've got a band, a strap, a belt, or something that I can use for assistance, and then the ball or cushion pillow to create some support or some resistance. So if you're seated, as usual, see if you can create space at the front, so making sure that the ribcage is not dropping into the belly, compressing the diaphragm, preventing it from moving and creating that nice relaxed breath. See if I can lift up a little bit taller, see if I can give myself a little bit more space. If you're laying down, take advantage of the floor of the mat supporting you, allowing the arms to relax down the side, encouraging the palms to turn and face up towards the ceiling, the shoulders to open, the front of the chest, the collarbones to relax. And then focusing on the breath, so see if you can try and take the breath down into the belly. So feel on the inhalation, feeling the belly expanding out, and then on the exhalation, it's just going to soften, to relax. So noticing if there is any tension into the neck or any tension into the breath any tension into the chest as you take that breath. And then if you can feel the tension coming up at the top, see if you can encourage it to drop down into the belly. So a nice calming breath, a nice relaxed breath. As you feel you've got a little bit more control over the breath, or just running a quick scan over the body, just noticing where the body is. Am I straight? Am I wonky? Is the pressure the same between the right and the left side of the body? Is my head centered? Am I slightly turned to one side? Am I slightly tipping to one side? I'm not changing anything, just noticing where everything is and how you feel to begin with. And then as you feel a little bit more settled, as you feel a little bit more relaxed, so then focusing on the neck, just to see if we can release some tension from the cervical, from the neck. I'm going to start with a little rotation. So I'm just going to start turning the head from side to side. Noticing, comparing the right and the left side. So as I turn to the right, I feel that I can turn better. When I go to the left, it catches a bit or feels stiffer, or vice versa. I'm not going to force anything. Just maybe paying a little bit more attention to the side that feels stiffer, the movement, the direction that feels a little bit more restricted. And then the more I turn, the easier the movement should be getting. I might even be able to turn a little bit further. So on the next one, I'm going to turn to look over the right shoulder, and then I'm going to hold it there. With my right hand, I'm going to reach to the side of the chin, the side of the jaw. And then I'm going to apply a gentle pressure as if I was trying to turn my head further. But with the head, I'm going to resist that pressure. So I'm going to hold that tension between the two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Take a deep breath in. And then as you breathe out, release the pressure. See if you can turn the head just a little bit more. I'm going to try again. So I'm going to try and turn the head back to the center. And then with the hand, I'm just going to resist. So keeping the tension between the two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Deep breath in. As you breathe out, to release the tension. See if you can turn the head a little bit more. Last time. Pressure on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Deep breath in. As you breathe out, Let go of the tension. See if you can turn the head a little bit further. And then easing back to the center. Returning the head back to the middle. I'm going to repeat the same thing, but going to the left. So I'm going to turn to look over the left shoulder. With the left hand, I'm going to reach to the side of the chin, side of the face. And then same, I'm just going to, with the hand, as if I was trying to encourage the head to turn further. And with the head, I'm just going to resist that pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Deep breath in. As you breathe out, ease off on the tension. See if you can turn the head a little bit more. Try again. Pressure on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Deep breath in. As you breathe out, to see if you can go a little bit deeper. Last time. Pressure on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Deep breath in. As you breathe out, to see if you can go a little bit more. And then easing the head back to the middle. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. Retest the rotation just to do a couple on each side and notice if there is any difference. Hopefully it feels a little bit easier. I might be able to turn a little bit further around. As you feel the movement starts feeling a little bit easier, bringing the head back to the center. And then this time we're going to try and go front to back. So I'm just going to, if I'm seated, think of your head, the back of your head to be against the wall. If you're lying down, the head is against the floor. I'm going to bring the chin into the back of the throat, just as if I was trying to give myself a double chin. I am giving myself a double chin. And then I'm going to release. So as if my head was on the wall, if my head is on the floor, what I'm trying to do is to flatten the cervical curve, as if I was trying to put the back of my neck flat against the mat. So I'm trying to lengthen, and then I'm going to release. I'm going to lengthen, and then I'm going to release. I'm going to lengthen, and then release. Without the forcing, just making sure that the movement is not causing me pain. So tucking the chin, and then release. Tucking the chin, and then release. As I feel the neck is moving a little bit better, so I can feel that length, I can feel that reach into the back of the neck. Then I'm going to try and see if I can apply a gentle stretch. So I'm going to reach one hand, both hands behind the head, and then as I tug the chin towards the throat, with the hands I'm going to pull gently onto the skull, as if I was trying to pull the skull off the neck. So I'm going to try and see if I can lift just a little bit more. So trying to ease some of the stiffness, some of the tension from the back, and then releasing. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, giving the head a gentle roll. Again, making sure that there is no tension left into the neck. And then I'm just going to move down into the thoracic spine. I'm going to start off with a little flexion extension. So imagine a little hook into the center of your chest, into the breastbone. I'm going to take a deep breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to pull forward with the hook. So I'm going to try and extend. I'm just going to bring the chest forward and then trying to come up. The back is extending behind me. And then I'm just going to release. I'm going to push the breastbone into the back of the ribcage. I'm going to try and round. And then I'm going to pull it forward and extend. So I'm going to round and extend. So if you're seated, use the hands around the thighs, around the knees, around the legs to really encourage the movement. So I'm going to try and see if I can gradually use more and more of the space. If you're lying down, supporting the head, if you want to make it a little bit more challenging, I'm going to extend. So I'm going to try and lift the back of the ribcage off the floor, and then to flex, I'm going to lift the head. I'm going to come up into a little curl. Then release back, I'm going to extend. And then I'm going to come up into a little curl and flex. So strong through the center. Think of the corset tightening through the middle, so the belly is not doming, it's not bulging, it's not popping out. I'm trying to keep it tight. I'm trying to keep it connected. Extend and flex. 3, 2, last one. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the back. So I've got a little bit more movement into the thoracic spine. I'm going to work again with it, but this time I'm going to go into rotation. So if I'm lying down, I'm just going to reach the arms to the ceiling, and then I'm just going to start swinging them from side to side, rolling from shoulder to shoulder, trying to encourage that rotation, that movement to side to side. If I'm seated, I can swing the arms, I can keep the arms close to the chest. I'm just going to turn from one to the other side, turning the head, turning the shoulders, turning the head, turning the shoulders the other way. So imagine like a bit of a rusted screw that you're trying to undo. So I'm just going to try little movement side to side to see if I can loosen up the movement, encourage a little bit more to the right and then to the left. And then especially if you're seated, see if you can picture where your head is when you're turning. Can you make sure that the head is still on top of the shoulders? It's not suddenly coming forward and dropping down. So the chin is still parallel to the floor. I'm still sitting tall. The shoulders are down. The neck feels nice and long as I'm moving from one over to the other. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, adjusting adjusting the back. So a little bit more movement at the top. I'm going to try and mobilize down at the bottom, so working into the lumbar spine. Think of the same movement that we did for the neck, so the little skull rock forward and back. I'm going to try and do the same thing with the back of the hips, with the back of the pelvis. I'm going to tilt the pelvis back, so think of the belly drawing in and the lower back rounding the other way. Then I'm going to come forward back into neutral, and then I'm going to tilt back. So think of the movement coming from the base of the spine this time. So see if I can mobilize into the bottom of the spine. If you're lying down, even better as you've got the mat underneath to guide you. I'm just going to try and see if I can get my lower back to flatten against the floor, and then I'm going to bring it back into neutral. Flatten against the floor, back into neutral. So just a gentle rocking forward and back with the hips, feeling the corset tightening at the front, offering a little bit more support. If it works better for you, focus on your pelvic floor. So think of your front passage. Men and women no different. So think of tightening and lifting everything up towards the inside of the body. Then I'm going to relax. I'm going to tighten and lift and then relax. Tighten and lift and then relax. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Adjusting the hips, there's a little bit more movement into the lower back. I'm going to try and see if I can create a little bit more, but this time going side to side. So I'm going to come into a little hip hitch. Think of your right hip hitching towards the right side of the rib cage, the left hip towards the left. So right to right, left to left. So I can feel the pelvis moving side to side. If you're sitting on the chair, imagine to be lifting one seat bone off the chair. So I'm going to try and pull up on one is down, pull up on the other, is down, pull up on one, pull up on the other. So encouraging a little tension into the obliques, into the side of the belly to create that lift. I can even use my hands on the chair to offer a little bit of anchorage so that I can stabilize and then focus on the hips and focus on the pelvis. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, adjusting the hips or releasing the hips. So the lower back feels a little bit looser too. I'm going to start working on arms and legs. I'm going to try and get a little bit of a coordination going. So think of your right arm and your left leg. I'm going to take a deep breath in, and then as I breathe out, I want my right arm and my left leg to lift. Then I'm going to put them down. I want my right leg and my left arm to lift. So opposite sides, and then easing back. Opposite sides and ease back. So if you're seated, imagine a seated march. So I'm trying to march on my chair. It doesn't matter if I can't lift, especially the legs, if they're a little bit temperamental, but see if you can try and picture a little connection that goes from the arm across the front of the body to the opposite hip. See if I can try and connect a little bit more, see if I can at least focus on the front of the hip twitching, trying to get the lift going. If I'm lying down, I'll be doing the same, but from my lying position. So I'm just going to try and bring one, take the other, one, and then the other. So one is having a little rest, one is moving, one is having a little rest, one is moving. Maintaining the pelvis stable. See if I can avoid the hips from rocking side to side. 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing down, allowing the hips, allowing the belly, allowing the shoulders to have a little rest, and then I'm going to work in reverse. So this time, instead of trying to work with the front of the hip, I want to work with the back of the hip. So I'm going to set the feet to about hips width apart, pushing down through the soles of the feet. And then if I'm lying down, I'm going to bridge my way up. So I'm going to drive the hips up to see if I can get a nice extension into the hip, the back of the bum working to create the lift. And then I'm just going to ease down. If I'm seated, think of lifting off the chair. So I'm going to lean forward into the legs, and then I'm going to try and see if I can push off and then ease back down. I mean, if I can proper lift and then sit back down. If I know that, again, the legs are a little bit temperamental, I'm just going to try and picture a nice squeeze from the back of the bum that is trying to drive me up and off the chair. Using the arms to offer a little support, or even kind of like to swing them forward if there is nothing in front of you, obviously. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing down, relaxing the legs, releasing the hips, giving the back of the leg a little rest. I'm going to go back into the front of the leg. but this time I'm going to change the coordination. So instead of going opposite arm and leg, I'm going to go same side. So imagine to have strings that from your right hand goes to your right knee, your left hand to the left knee. I'm going to try and pop up my legs. So I'm going to lift my right leg and my right arm, down, left leg, left arm. So right leg, right arm, left leg, left arm. And then notice the difference. I might have struggled with the opposite, but I might find that somehow as I'm lifting same side, it feels easier, or vice versa. I might have found that the opposite was really good, but same side, somehow it feels different. It feels a bit harder. I'm just going to, again, try what I can. Picture the tension at the front of the hip that is allowing the leg to lift away, the hip joint to flex, or to close, or to come up. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release and down. Releasing the hips, so relaxing the legs, and then I'm going to focus again onto the back of the legs. If you're lying down, and you can, I want you to extend the legs away along the mat. If you find it that's not happening, or that's uncomfortable for the back, keep them bent. And then from this position, imagine to be digging the heels of your feet into the ground and then squeezing with the back of the bum. I want the hips, I want the bum to peel away from the ground, 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to relax. So I'm going to drive, squeeze into a little lift, and then release. So I'm going to keep the tension. If you're seated, I want you to remain seated and then think of tensing the bone cheek. So I'm going to clench my bum and then relax. Clench and relax. Clench and relax. Clench and relax. As I clench and relax, as the muscle tenses, it's almost like putting a wedge under the hips. So I should be feeling myself kind of like, almost like a bouncing up and down on the chair, unless the chair is quite soft, and then obviously I tend to sink. And then notice the tension. So as you're clenching, as you're squeezing, you will find that no matter what, one side tends to be a little bit stronger or a little bit more connected than the other. So always focus on the side that doesn't seem to be that connected. It doesn't seem to be performing that well. So I'm going to try and focus on that side a little bit more, see if I can try and find a better connection. So picturing the muscle tightening and then squeezing up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Relaxing the hips or releasing the legs. If you're lying down and you find it's comfortable, you can even hug the knees into the chest, rocking the legs, stretching gently into the lower back and into the back of the hips, into the back of the bum. And then I'm going to move back into the front. But this time I'm going to do a proper focus work into the hip. So I'm just going to grab hold of the ball or the pillow. If you're seated, you don't even need to use the pillow. You can just put your hands on your thighs. I'm going to put the ball between my hands and the thigh. And then from here, imagine to be squeezing the ball between the two. So I'm not just pushing down with my hands, I'm pushing down with my hands and then I'm trying to pull up with the leg. So what I want to feel is deep into the hip joint is some tension. I want to feel that muscle tightening. So I'm going to squeeze and release, squeeze and release, squeeze and release. If I'm laying down, I can do it with my foot on the floor, or if I can hold the leg up, I'm going to do it with the foot off the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and release and down, relaxing the leg, relaxing the hip. I'm going to try the same thing on the left side. So I'm going to place the ball, the cushion between the hands and the left leg, and then I'm going to start pressing. With the leg, I'm going to try and push up into the ball, and then with the arms, I'm going to push down. Leg lifted, or foot on the ground if I'm lying down. And then if I'm seated, really trying to focus on that front of the hip, gripping, tensing, connecting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. And then I'm going to try and create some movement into the hip joint. So you can use your hands, you can use the strap, the belt around the back of the leg to help you guide the leg. And then same as you did when you went lifting up and down, imagine the leg to be your puppet. What I want is instead of limit myself into the up and down movement, this time I want to try and circle around, trying to get all the possible directions. So it doesn't need to be a circle, it could be a cross, it could be an M, it could be an O, it could be any letter of the alphabet, any number. So imagine your thigh to be like a massive pencil. So the tip of your pencil is right where your kneecap is. And then I'm just going to start drawing shapes on the wall or on the ceiling above. So see if I can try and relax into the hip joint. So using the arm to help me guide that leg into that shape. See if you can try and think of the hip relaxing. So the leg can be used like a little puppet moving into the hip socket. Making sure that the movement is not causing me pain. If I'm lying down, I've got more space, so I can even go into a slightly bigger movement. The only thing is making sure that the hips and the pelvis is keeping stable. So it's not twisting, it's not moving with the leg. 3, 2, last one, and release, relaxing the leg, allowing the arms a little rest. I'm going to repeat the same to the other side. So I'm going to pick up the other leg, band around it, or hands around the leg. And then again, I'm just going to start drawing shapes with that leg. See if I can allow the leg to relax. If you're laying down, imagine your thigh just dropping into the hip sockets. I'm not trying to hold it. I'm not stiffening. I'm just trying to let go as much as I can. So I'm trying to create a little bit more freedom, a little bit more movement into the hip joint. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing down, relaxing the leg, releasing the hip. So it's a little bit more movement into the hip joint. I'm a little bit more aware of the tension at the front. What I want now is to try and get a little bit more awareness on the tension to the side. So if you're laying down on the mat, you don't need the band. If you're seated, you'll need the band to work against some kind of resistance. I'm going to tie the band around the legs. If it's an elastic one, it will stretch. So I can get it actually quite tight. It's still going to stretch. If it's a belt, so if it's a solid one, obviously it's not going to give. So I'm going to leave it a little bit looser so I can put a little tension into the band, but I've got space to actually move my legs. So I'm going to set the band and then keep it in place with a little bow, holding it with the hands. I'm going to focus on the right leg. I'm going to start pulling out with the right leg, trying to open the right leg as much as I can, and then I'm going to ease back. Same as usual. I'm going to guide with my hand. If the leg is not very responsive, just to encourage the movement, just to tell the leg where to go. If you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto one side and then setting up into climb. So I'm going to keep the knees bent, the legs are one on top of the other. I'm going to create a nice strong connection through the center, and then keeping the feet together, I'm going to start opening the top leg up and down, maintaining the hips still, making sure that the hips are not swinging. So it's just the leg moving into the hip socket. So think of the tension coming from the side of the leg into the side of the hip, side of the bum. 5, 4, 3, 2. On the last one, I want to hold the tension out for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Giving the hip a little tap, relaxing the leg, releasing the hip. I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. So if I'm down on the side, I'm going to roll to face the other way and set myself onto the other leg. If I'm seated, this time I'm going to hold my right leg nice and still, and then I'm going to start opening with the left. So I'm just going to work on the other side as much as I can, and then coming back, using my hand to guide if I feel that the leg is not responding very well. And then same as you've been doing so far, just compare the two sides. How easy does it feel to move this leg compared to the other leg? Can I keep my hips steady? Can I feel the tension into the side of the hip as the leg is moving? It's trying to open out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then last one, we're going to hold the lift for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Allowing the hip a little rest. I'm going to undo the band, push the band out of the way into one side, and then I'm going to give the side of the hip a little stretch. So if you're laying down, I want you to roll over onto your back. I'm going to extend my left leg out of the way. I'm going to bring my right leg towards the chest, and then with the left hand around that leg, I'm going to gently start pulling the leg across until I can feel the stretch coming down the side of the hip into the side of the leg. I want the hips to stay down, so I'm not twisting, I'm not taking the stretch into the back, I'm just trying to keep it on the leg. If I'm seated, I've got 2 options. If I can, I'm going to cross the right leg over the left, and then with the arm, I'm going to pull the leg across, and then I'm going to turn towards the leg. If I can get the leg over, I'm just going to shuffle the legs to the side. I'm going to push the legs out of the way, and then I'm going to turn the opposite way. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing back to the center, swapping sides. I'm going to reach the left hand across to the right across to the left, and then I'm just going to pull the legs the other way. So stretching down the side of the leg, stretching down the side of the hip. If I'm laying down, exactly the same, but pulling across the other leg, the other side. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Allowing the legs a little, walk a little shine, and then taking the stretch into the back of the leg. If I'm laying down, I'm going to place the band around the right foot, or the strap around the right foot. I'm going to extend the right leg as much as I can, and then I'm going to gently pull it towards me until I can feel the stretch coming down the back of the leg. If I'm seated, I can do the same, but the leg opposite will be quite heavy to lift. So an easiest option, or better option, is straightening up the leg in front of me as much as I can. And then I'm just going to ease my way forward as if I was trying to put my shoes on or tie my shoelaces up. So I should be able to feel a little stretch into the back of the leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to ease my way back, relax the leg, and then switch sides. So swapping the band around the left foot, extending the left leg, and then pulling the leg towards you if you're lying down, or pulling yourself towards the leg if you're seated. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Easing back to the middle, ease the leg back down, and then trying to get into the inner thigh. If you're, whether you're seated or lying down, I'm going to bend the knees, and then placing the hands on the inside of the legs. I'm just going to gently start pushing the knees out to the side. If you're lying down, try to keep your feet close together so that the soles of the feet come together in the middle. If I'm seated, if I feel that opening the legs with my feet together, I don't really feel the stretch into the inner thigh, then I might open the feet a little bit wider and then see if I can get a little bit more stretch going that way. So choosing the option that suits you better. At no point there should be pain into the side of the hip. So see if I can try and lengthen into these muscles, see if I can try and ease some of the tension from the inside of the legs. So just a gentle pressure out to encourage that opening. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Squeezing the legs all the way back in, giving the legs a little walk, giving the legs a little shake. Then if you're lying down, rolling over onto your side, and in your own time, pushing yourself up into sitting. Finding your comfortable seated position. So the legs wherever you want them to be, crossed, out, in front, slightly off to the side, just making sure that the knees are comfortable so there's no pressure into the knee joint. And then from here, where I'm sitting on the floor or on the chair, I'm just going to start moving through the back. I'm going to take a deep breath in and then pushing the chest forward, Think of the shoulders going back and dropping down. I'm going to try and create as much space at the front of the body as I can. I'm going to look forward, I'm going to look up, I'm going to look back, and then I'm going to release. I'm going to let the chin drop down to the chest, the shoulders curve forward, and then I'm just going to roll forward, roll down as far as my back will allow me to go. Then I'm going to uncurl back up, and then again, drawing the shoulders back, pulling them down. Chest the forward, lifting up, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then release and coming forward again. Letting the chin drop to the chest, allowing the weight of the head to stretch gently the back of the neck, the back of the shoulders, the middle of the back. Last time, extending up as much lift as you can. So I'm going to pull the shoulders back, drop them down. I'm going to lift the chest forward. I'm going to look forward, look up, look back. And then I'm going to ease my way back to the front. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow. Give yourself a clap, well done. Any question or anything as usual, please say. Remember, you need to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Mickey. That was